am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video, joined today by a new guest, China.
What's up?
How are you?
I am good, blessed.
Yeah, listen, it's Friday. I'm happy that you came through. I feel like we're gonna have a fantastic discussion today.
For sure.
All right, so listen, you guys already see the title of the video. We're gonna get into it here in a quick second. But listen, additional video requests, mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Listen, throw a like on this video. If you made it this far, throw a like on that video so it can show me respect in the YouTube algorithm. All right? I usually forget to say that, so I wanted to say that too.
Glad you said it.
Oh yeah, also I got a new Patreon. Go down, I'm gonna leave the link down in the description. Go down there and check out that link as well. So China,
Yay.
we were talking earlier about polygamy. And I wanted to have this conversation because I think it'd be a really good conversation for the people, okay?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever shared like my thoughts on polygamy or polyamorous relationships, so I feel like it would be a good opportunity to be able to do that. All right, so first thing, polygamy. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm a lesbian. I've been a lesbian for a very long time. So.
Is this like a decade you've been a lesbian?
Oh, I've been a lesbian before I was walking.
Okay, so you knew.
I knew a long time ago.
Now let me ask you a question. Was there ever a switch back and forth? Was it ever like
I dated a guy.
Uh-huh.
I did date a guy in my past life.
Okay.
But it was short-lived.
Okay. So did you do that due to societal pressures?
I did. My mom is Christian. My family is very heavy on Christianity. And so I was like, I was praying and I'm like, you know what, this is what I need to do. And he, you know, he was a decent dude. And so I was like, you know what, this is the dude I'm gonna date. And it lasted a couple years actually.
Oh.
Salty too.
Got it. Did he have any idea?
Oh yeah. Girls consistently I was talking to girls consistently throughout our relationship.
Like even in the relationship you was talking to girls? Like that? So did he know that?
Yeah, he felt away about it though.
Oh, so he thought you were doing it for him?
Oh, yeah, he thought I was doing it because I liked him, but he knew that I had always dated girls. I dated girls high school, I dated girls middle school, I dated girls all life.
Got it. Okay, okay. So then you had one relationship.
Yep.
And then you were like, let me stop lying to myself.
And everyone else. And
everyone
I just stopped caring.
So talk about just real quick, and we'll get back into the video. So like stop caring. I mean, typically in the black community, especially if raised by a religious family, that's hard for a lot of people, like really hard. Like what made you come up to that stop caring?
I realized that those people that I was caring about opinions, they weren't paying any of my bills. I have it different. Like I have 7 brothers and sisters. And I'm leading them by example, and I want them to be their full authentic selves. And I can't ask them to be their full authentic selves, and I'm not. So I was just like, hey, you either with it or you ain't, and if you ain't, you can go.
There it is. All right. So, okay, let's get back into this polyamory discussion, but I feel like that context we needed to have before we continued in the conversation.
I agree.
All right, so polyamory, what are your views on it? But let's also define it real quick before we go in.
Okay.
Because I don't know if everyone understands.
Well, I mean, it's basically dating more than one person.
Okay.
You can have it where one person just dates people outside of the relationship, more than one person, or everyone is collectively together, one unit, as you would call it, and everyone is committed within that unit to each other. Okay.
Now, would you rather the unit version?
Yes.
Okay, versus the, you get to date outside of.
I prefer the unit where we all will be committed, which actually, I should have probably told you this before, but I have experience with a polygamy relationship.
Oh, you've done it before?
I have.
Okay, so talk about it real quick. So was it that unit?
It was.
Okay.
And I was in a relationship with 2 women. One who identifies as male, so a transgender, and one that identifies as a woman. She was a feminine woman, and the other one was a stud, like a more masculine woman.
Got it. So, okay. how did that come about? Right? Like, so knowing you, I know you're more feminine.
I am.
So did you link up with the feminine woman first? Or was it the masculine woman first?
I dated the masculine or the transgender in high school. Throughout high school we dated, and then we went to college together, and we dated a short time in college, and we broke up, and that person started dating the other girl. And they actually got real serious, was dating for a long time. They're married now. But we all was like, that person was coming in between us a little bit, like going over there, coming over here, going over there. And I was like, look, hey, I like you too. And she was like, hey, I like you too. And we was like, hey.
Wow. So that was a relationship for like, how long was that?
We lived together. It was about 6 months.
Wow.
I actually think it could have probably lasted a little longer, but it was just a little tension.
It was tension. I would imagine it was tension between you and the other feminine one.
Yes, and I honestly think it was probably because of our history. Like, me and this person dated, and then you and this person dated, and now we're both trying to date each other when we have this person in common that we initially care about. So.
Got it. So then the more masculine woman was kind of reaping all the benefits, and then the drama was kind of left to the more feminine ones in the relationship.
I believe so.
Got it. You know, I mean, it makes sense to me. So then let me ask you a question. Like, so if you were to do that again, would you still do it under the same rule set of 2 feminine and one masculine, or could you see yourself in a throuple with 3 feminine women?
Honestly, if I was to do it again, which I am open to polygamy, I agree with polygamy, I would probably date a masculine woman and another feminine woman, but I am open to 2 masculine women, and I am open to 2 masculine women and another feminine girl, so like 4.
Okay, 4. Okay, much over 4?
No.
Why not?
I think that would just be too much. Too much personality.
Like, it's too many human beings.
Yes.
Being human beings.
Yes.
Okay. So again, you would do 2 masculine, 2 feminine.
Or 2 masculine, or just 2 feminine.
Now, when we say masculine, right? Like, I'm a man, so I hear that. But you say masculine, and you talk about women. So I think that's defined as studs,
or butch women. Or
butch.
Like transgender, like they're women transitioning to be males.
So when you say, okay, that's a whole nother fluidity category, right? So so when you say transgender, so is there more stud women that are not, like they're feminine but they're stud? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure.
Okay. There's so many like classifications, there's so many variations, there's so many types. Like I feel like it's just such a fluid scale. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely is.
Okay.
It definitely is.
So let me ask you another question. So thinking about and talking about polygamy, right? So why would you prefer polygamy over just a one-on-one relationship?
Now I'm not gonna say prefer. I'm gonna say open to either or. It kind of depends on the flow of either. Like if I meet someone, or if I have someone and I'm like, you know what, I'm cool with just you, then we can do that. I'm open to that. But I'm also open if we have a discussion and we're together and then we meet someone and we kind of like her too. I'm open to exploring that as well. So tell me how you feel about polygamy relationships.
Okay. Listen, here's the thing. I am not convinced. Like, number one, I don't believe in soulmates, right? Like, I don't feel like a soulmate is a real thing.
I believe in that.
Because you know why? Because there's 8 billion people on this planet, and I feel like it's not realistic to feel like you can't be attached to more than one of those 8 billion, especially for the amount of people that have ongoing relationships throughout their lives with the people who are in their general vicinity, right? Like it's ridiculous for me to think that you can't have someone else that you can bond with, like really and truly bond with outside of that. So I think that there's multiple people that you can ridiculously bond with.
This is the thing. A lot of people, most people who find the person that they marry, they find them in college.
I think that that's a mistake.
I feel like that is kind of putting like a in what you're saying though, because if I meet someone in college, more times than likely they're going to be from somewhere else.
So the meeting in college and then getting married, regardless of that happening, is still a 50% divorce rate. It's still a 50% divorce. So it don't matter when you met somebody, but they're gonna get divorced half of the time. Like, let me take this coin right here, and I'm gonna flip it. And depending upon what happens is a divorce, or they're gonna stay married. And the ones that stay married may not be happy married, because it's cheaper to keep her.
That sounds like a whole nother topic.
Potentially, but you asked the question.
I believe in soulmates. I do believe that people can have a soulmate, and a situation occurs, and then someone else is made into your soulmate, or someone else can become your soulmate. I do believe in soulmates.
When you say soulmates, what exactly does that mean?
That means someone who you have a tie with, like a soul tie with, someone who's meant for you.
So you don't feel like you can have more than one soul tie?
No, I do. That's why I said I feel like you can have different, like there could be more than one, but I don't feel like there's no soulmates.
Yeah, like I feel like you can have people that you're trying to match as much to 100% as possible, but I don't feel like there's 100% for anybody. And I feel like even in understanding that today, as a 34-year-old man, like I feel like a lot of the times I would try to excel to 100% with women that I have met in my life, and what has kept me at bay is that I haven't felt 100%, right? But when talking with people, it seems like 100% is not realistic. But to me, 100% is what you described.
Yeah, but a soulmate is not 100%. It's not you have to be 100%. That's a person the soulmate is a person for you. So it can be someone who's 80% perfect, or 80% the person you want to be with, but that's closer than what you're going to get.
So here's the reason. So in order to tie the soulmate thing back to this discussion about polygamy and polyamory, the reason is because like I feel like even if you find someone that's like 75% of what you're looking for, you only have one life to live. So why only settle for 75%? And I feel like there's a component of me that says, well, why can I enter in someone else that's that 25%?
I agree with that.
So I can make 100%.
I agree with that.
The problem with it though is people change.
They do.
Over time, significantly. So who you have on day one, or the throuple or whatever that you're in day one, is not going to be who they are at day 1000.
True.
And you are exponentially increasing the complexity of the relationship by entering in an additional person that fills a particular void that you have with your original partner. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's something that like, I don't judge when I see it. I can never judge when I see it. Like, go ahead and do your thing. Like, I feel like if y'all can make it happen, and it's happy, and there's no drama, and there's consistent and fluid communication, by all means, go ahead. But do understand that I feel like the risks are exponentially higher the more that you add to the equation in terms of it not going right.
I do believe that. I do feel that even though it adds a lot of stuff, because you, like you said, that person might be the 25%, and you have this other person who has everything else, and it can create a problem. It can also help, because if everybody is on the same page, if everybody's like, we're all committed to each other, we all care about each other, if you feel that way and you guys work everyone's strengths versus their weaknesses, it can really work. Like, okay, this person is the cooker. This person is the cleaner. This person is
takes out the trash.
Yeah, it builds a stronger situation.
So, but the situations that you talked about previously, right? So 2 feminine women and 1 masculine. So I would expect that the masculine woman who's gonna be the aggressor, right? The leader, most likely the breadwinner, right? Like, she will have to take up both of your guys' 75% or 50, at least 50%.
Right.
Right. So then that commands 100% of her attention.
Right.
Right. In order to make both of y'all happy. Meanwhile,
right,
y'all just want whatever, the more masculine, right? Like unless like you're still getting something within the two feminine women in the relationship, right? Like y'all can gossip together, y'all can do all that bullshit that typically more masculine people don't give a goddamn about.
So a question with this, would you agree with a polygamy relationship with more than one male?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because that's just not what I want. That's just not what I roll, how I roll.
So you would have, what if the woman wanted an extra man? What if a woman was like, we can add another woman, but I also want another man?
Then within this throuple, that would not work. Even in the relationship that you had, in your polyamorous relationship, you had one masculine woman.
Yes.
And two feminine women. Do you feel like it would have worked if you had two masculine women and one feminine woman?
If our mindset was to actually, with two masculine women and two feminine women, it might actually work.
Really?
But I felt with us, the only reason why it did not work was because we already had a beef. We already had tension because you got the person.
You came in.
Yeah. So it was already a problem. When we were together, there were times when things were great. It was a lot of fun.
And even still, like, in the experiences that I have throughout my life, like what I've seen, even with the polyamorous lifestyle, is that even if you have a feminine woman and a masculine woman, like if a masculine dude comes in there, that masculine woman is now just a feminine woman.
True.
I've seen that happen as well.
I have to. I've seen a lot of butch women
submit heavy
to masculine men. I have, which is why there's some women I just can't date, because I don't want to date a woman that will fold to a man. I can't date a woman that'll fold to a man.
Talk to me.
I cannot, because I feel like I'm not gonna fold to a man. My
when you say fold, you mean have sex?
But that's a huge no. But if you submit to a man, if you give him your vulnerability, that's an issue with me. Because when I'm around a man, I'm gonna hold myself away where he's not gonna get that from me. He's gonna get a conversation, an intellectual woman. But I'm never gonna fold to him. I'm never going to be vulnerable to him, and I'm never gonna submit to him. So if you're around a man and you get a submissive feeling and you get a submissive vibe about yourself, that means that you have a feeling towards men.
So you don't have a feeling towards men, which is why you don't want to submit to men.
Right. I would not submit to a man.
I can't disagree with that, because it's clear to me that you are 100% not interested in penis.
Yeah,
it's very...
Save the Peter Whacker for someone else.
There it is. Yeah, and I've heard of lesbian women. Like a true lesbian woman is someone who doesn't even like masturbate with a dildo, right? Like it's just
that's argued. That can be argued. There are women who just like women who like toys.
Okay, but like toys that just touch the surface, or like
no, that like penetration. They just don't like penetration from a man.
Let me take this a step further. So the ones that don't look at men at all, don't even understand the word submit because they're not attracted to men at all. Do they like penetration?
See, I can say a man is cute. I can say a man is handsome. Sexually, I am not attracted to men. But I could sometimes be like, hey, if you want to use it, we can use it. But there are women who also have no attraction to men, don't like men at all, and cannot be penetrated. Okay. I guess it just depends on who you're with, what they like.
It's a super sliding scale. It almost seems like it's so fluid, like there's not a definition.
It's not.
It slides on a scale dependent upon
being who you are
and the dynamic, and when you enter someone else into the dynamic, all of a sudden it's a sliding scale. But just touching back real quick on you not being able to be with a woman who would submit to a man. So you would be, like a woman ideal for you being on the more masculine side, because you're more feminine, is a woman who essentially could prove that with a man around, she wouldn't like be feminine around.
Right. Or she could be feminine. I'm feminine. And I'm gonna be feminine around anybody. But when I say submit, the tone of women's voices change when they submit.
Yes, it does.
The tone of women's voices change when they're vulnerable.
Yes, it does.
So if your voice and your tone changes when you're around a man, you
don't find that attractive.
I don't find that attractive.
So what turns you off? You don't bang with that.
I'll bang with that.
This is so interesting.
No.
This is interesting. Wow. It's almost like for heterosexuals, it's like a woman is very unattracted. They may not say this. They're very unattracted to a dude who's not masculine. I think what's popularized in culture is, men who kind of pillow talk and cry on pillows with women and share their emotions, right?
So are we talking about emotional men, or are we talking about men?
Feminine men or emotional?
Because I feel like there's a difference between emotional men and men that are just, excuse it, but weak. Women.
Weak to me is what you were talking about earlier, which is like a man who talks drama.
Okay. Because I feel like emotional men are, like, I don't think women find emotional men unattractive.
Oh, I disagree. How would you define emotional?
Like, expresses his feelings.
So I think that there's a vulnerability. It can be done if the chips are stacked against you in a way and you're communicating with them because of how you feel in the situation. But when I say emotional man, I mean like you text her and then she doesn't text back for 8 hours and he's by his phone like, is everything okay? Are you okay? Are you all right? Like, that's the shit, and dudes go through that. You know what I mean? They go through that. I'm gonna keep it funky.
That could be a stalker or a domestic violence.
That's not a stalker. Dudes go through that, like, and they just like you, and they put all their chips in one basket. They put all their eggs in that basket, and they want response, like, and to be validated, to be this, to be that. And I always argue you should always be focused on your why in life, and your why in life should never be a woman. Because at the point that your why in life is a woman is the very day that she becomes unattracted to you.
So what is your why? If a woman is not your why, what is your why?
My why in life is defined by what I'm doing to create a legacy.
So your work.
Say it again?
So your work is your why, because your work is not going to keep you warm at night. Your work is not going to warm your children. It's not going to.
You know why it keeps you warm at night? Because it pays for the heat that you're feeling on your back right now.
That's so.
What you mean it's not gonna keep
We're
you
not
warm
going to
at night?
talk literal.
You don't feel that heat pumping, girl?
It's
winter out here.
We're going to talk seriously.
That's called natural gas.
So you're saying to me that your why would be your job before your woman and your children?
Absolutely.
That is not okay. And no one wants a husband.
No, not my job. No, listen. When I say my job, I just don't mean the place that employs me. I'm saying your
purpose.
My purpose. But that doesn't mean that at the point that I have kids and my purpose doesn't shift. I'm talking about in the dating game today.
Well, in dating, your purpose, in dating, you should always keep yourself.
That's what I'm talking about.
Cool. As long as you're talking about dating. Because once you get talking about serious relationships, then, and someone you...
When you say serious relationships, what are you talking about? Like before fiance?
I'm talking about who you picture being your wife. Who you are moving and your life is molding to be your wife. That's who you would...
There's an assumption there of wife.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's an assumption there that that's the end goal.
So your end goal is not to have a wife?
My end goal is to be happy in life. I don't know how that's defined, and I'm not gonna let Disney tell me how that should be defined.
Disney. Well, Disney made a lot of money telling people how to define situations.
They did, which is egregious, in my opinion.
Well, so you're saying happiness, your end goal in happiness, it has nothing to do with another person being a part of your life.
My end goal in happiness, I'm still defining to this day.
Okay.
And I'm not going to let
as long as
I'm not going to let Disney define that. I'm not going to let dating coaches online define that. I'm still working towards figuring out what that is. But I do understand one thing on my journey of being happy is the more that I focused on women, the less of them that I got. And the more that I focused on women, the less that I was towards my purpose. I think me understanding that the better my purpose, the more and better women that will come around and show me love and respect will increase. And I feel like Disney and movies and media tell you to focus on love early, which goes back to your people who have been, met their fiance in college and then they get married at 22, 23 or what have you, which I'd argue is always too early.
You can't say that though. Because you clearly feel like your end goal is not marriage. So how you gonna even be able to have a opinion on something you don't even want to do?
Well, listen, I feel as though we should do another video on marriage. I'm gonna cut off this video right now because this is not about polyamory. We will have a part 2. Stay tuned to the next video. We have another video. What do you want to talk about? The purpose of marriage. Let's talk about that in the next video.
We got a list.
What do you mean you got a list?
We got a list.
Oh yeah, we got a list. Oh yeah, mention me. I thought about marriage. Yeah. Listen, questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the description box down below. This fucking conversation was lit. Girl.
We went through a lot of things though.
Yeah, we
I don't
did.
feel like we stayed on topic.
I'm gonna cut this shit the fuck off. We about to go right back in. Listen, if y'all have any questions, leave it down in the comment box down below. If you made it to this point of the video, I bangs with you. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Excuse me.
Wait,
it's too much masculinity in here.